The inquiry arrives with persistent frequency, a recurring theme in the digital discourse surrounding modern masculinity. Is the enigmatic figure of the Sigma male an entity exclusive to a particular psychological constitution, a specific and rare configuration of mental processes? Or does this archetype represent a potentiality that can emerge from the vast and varied spectrum of human personality, a conscious flowering from any number of innate psychological soils? This is not a mere question of semantics or casual categorization. It is a profound exploration that strikes at the very core of what the Sigma male represents. Is he merely a synonym for an introverted Myers-Briggs type, such as the INTJ or INTP? Is he defined by a specific number in the Enneagram system, like the reclusive 5? Or does he, in fact, constitute something far more fluid, more dynamic, and more consciously chosen, a behavioral and philosophical stance that transcends and often defies the rigid boundaries of these established categorization systems? This treatise is dedicated to a deep and nuanced dissection of the fascinating interplay between the Sigma male archetype and the world of formal personality models. We will venture beyond superficial labels to unearth the true psychological and philosophical bedrock upon which this unique individual stands, mapping his coordinates in the complex landscape of the human psyche. 1. The foundational distinction: archetype versus blueprint, behavioral expression versus innate wiring. The very first step in this intellectual journey requires a crucial, non-negotiable distinction, a conceptual clarity that must be established before any meaningful analysis can proceed. We must differentiate between a personality type and a behavioral archetype, established in widely recognized personality typing systems, such as the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, MBTI, the Enneagram, or the Big Five, Ocean, function as psychological cartography. They are designed to measure and map the inherent, often biologically influenced, preferences and tendencies of an individual's mind. They describe the fundamental, deep-seated wiring that dictates how a person naturally and instinctively processes information, arrives at decisions, manages emotions, and interacts with their external environment. They are the blueprint of the psyche, the foundational hardware of the self. The Sigma male, in stark contrast, does not belong to this category of innate measurement. He represents a behavioral archetype. This is a critical differentiation. An archetype is a recurring pattern, a model of conduct, a specific constellation of values, chosen behaviors, and strategic social positioning that an individual adopts and embodies, irrespective of the underlying personality wiring they were born with. To employ a technological metaphor, your personality type is your inherent hardware, the specific model of processor, the architecture of your memory, the specifications of your components. The Sigma archetype, however, is the software, the self-selected operating system you consciously choose to install and run on that hardware. It is a program of values, a set of protocol for engaging with the world. This fundamental distinction carries a powerful implication. While certain personality types may, by their very nature, be more predisposed or find it more intuitively comfortable to exhibit Sigma characteristics, the Sigma path itself is ultimately a conscious orientation toward existence. It is a philosophical and behavioral choice available to a wide range of personality types, even those for whom it does not come naturally. The expression of the Sigma software, however, will manifest differently depending on the underlying psychological hardware it is operating upon. An individual with a naturally gregarious and expressive hardware will run the Sigma program in a manner distinct from one with a more contemplative and reserved internal system. The core code may be the same, but the user interface and specific functionalities will be adapted to the machine. 2. A spectrum of solitude, the manifestation of Sigma traits across major personality systems. When we survey the terrain of major personality systems, we observe that the characteristics associated with the Sigma male do not cluster neatly under a single banner. Instead, they form a spectrum, appearing in various forms and with different emphases across multiple types, revealing the adaptive nature of the archetype. Within the Myers-Briggs MBTI framework, the intuitive and analytical domains of the MBTI are often seen as a natural habitat to the Sigma. The INTJ, the architect, with their strategic, long-range vision, their relentless drive for competence, and their innate comfort with isolation as a prize for deep thought, frequently embodies Sigma ideals. Similarly, the INTP, the logician, driven by a thirst for understanding complex systems and a natural skepticism toward established norms, often finds a conventional social hierarchy irrelevant to their intellectual pursuits. Their validation comes from the internal coherence of their mental models, not from social applause. However, to confine the Sigma to these two types is a myopic view. We find potent Sigma characteristics in the ISTP, the virtuoso, who values their autonomy and hands-on competence above all else, often operating as a masterful lone wolf in mechanical, technical, or physical domains. Their Sigma quality is less about grand theories and more about tangible, independent skill. Even the INFJ, the advocate, the most extroverted of the introverts, can exhibit a Sigma orientation. While they possess a deep concern for human welfare, they often operate as quiet, behind-the-scenes observers and catalysts, maintaining a unique vision and a resistance to being absorbed into groups that would compromise their core values. The unifying Sigma quality across these diverse MBTI types is not their specific stack of cognitive functions, introverted intuition versus extrovert sensing, for example, but their shared orientation toward internal validation and a fundamental resistance to the implicit demands of rigid social hierarchies. Within the Enneagram system, here, the correlation becomes even more nuanced, touching upon core motivations and phase. The Type 5, the investigator, is arguably the most natural Enneagram counterpart to the Sigma archetype. Their core desire for knowledge, competence, and self-sufficiency, coupled with their fear of being depleted or intruded upon, makes the Sigma's independent path a psychological necessity. They build fortified citadels of the mind and spirit, and their Sigma behavior is a direct defense of their inner resources. Yet, the Sigma manifestation is not exclusive to the 5. A healthy, self-actualizing Type 8, the challenger, can powerfully channel their innate need for control and autonomy away from dominating the external world and toward absolute self-mastery. Their Sigma expression is one of formidable inner strength and independence, a refusal to be controlled as much as a refusal to control others. They become the sovereign of their own being. Similarly, the Type 4, the individualist, with their deep-seated desire to be unique and authentic, often embraces a Sigma positioning as a means of standing outside social conventions. Their tragic romantic outlook finds expression in a life lived on their own unique terms, away from the commonplace and the mundane. The common thread weaving through these different Enneagram motivations is a distinct movement towards self-sufficiency and away from social dependency, whether that dependency is for knowledge 5, power 8, or identity 4. Within the Big 5 Ocean model, this trait-based model offers another valuable perspective. Sigma males would typically profile with low levels of extroversion, preferring solitude or small, meaningful interactions, and high levels of openness to experience, intellectual curiosity, appreciation for novel ideas and aesthetics. However, the most defining feature in this model is often low agreeableness. It is critical to understand that this does not equate to being disagreeable, antagonistic, or unkind. In this context, low agreeableness manifests as a resistance to social conformity, a healthy skepticism, and a willingness to go against the grain of group consensus when it conflicts with their deeply held principles, logical observations, or personal code of ethics. They are not compelled to harmonize with the group at the cost of their integrity. 3. The core Sigma operating system, a value-based framework for autonomy. What, then, is the irreducible core of the Sigma male if it is not a collection of personality traits? The answer lies in a specific set of consciously chosen values and behavioral patterns that form his operational code. A. An internal locus of validation. This is the cornerstone of the Sigma psyche. The Sigma male derives his fundamental sense of worth, success, and identity from his own internal standards, his personal accomplishments, and his self-defined metrics of integrity. His compass is internal. Praise does not inflate him. Criticism does not deflate him. His self-worth is a fortress built from within, not a fragile structure dependent on the bricks of external approval. This is a value that can be cultivated and adopted by any personality type, though it may come more naturally to those with introverted or thinking preferences. By anti-hierarchical social positioning, the Sigma male consciously and strategically positions himself outside of or parallel to traditional social dominance hierarchies. He is neither the alpha, who seeks to lead and dominate the hierarchy, nor the beta, who seeks a secure place within it by following its rules. The Sigma acknowledges the existence of these structures, but chooses not to play the game. He forges his own path, creates his own rules, and measures his success by his own yardstick. This represents a conscious choice about social engagement, a form of psychological and social jujitsu that uses the hierarchy's own weight to bypass it entirely. C. The principle of selective social engagement. The Sigma male is not necessarily a recluse, though he can be. He is, above all, selective. He engages socially on his own terms, driven by genuine interest, shared values, or specific purpose. He does not engage out of a sense of obligation, social climbing, or fear of missing out. His social interactions are intentional and authentic, devoid of the performative masks that many wear in group settings. This is a behavior that can be learned and mastered, regardless of whether one's natural inclination is for the company of many or the solace of few. D. Purpose-driven action as a guiding principle. His actions are not dictated by social expectations, trends, or the desire for status. They are guided by an internal sense of purpose, curiosity, or a personal mission. This purpose is self-generated and self-sustaining. It provides a direction that others might seek from external leaders, ideologies, or social norms. This orientation of living a purpose-driven life is available to any individual of any personality type who possesses a courage for deep self-examination and the will to follow their own unique calling. For the genesis of a Sigma, development through experience and conscious choice. A common misconception portrays the Sigma male as a static, innate identity, a man simply born into his lone wolf destiny. The reality is far more complex and dynamic. While certain innate personality traits may create a predisposition, the Sigma orientation is very often developed, honed, and solidified through a combination of life experiences and conscious, deliberate choices. For some individuals, Sigma characteristics emerge as a sophisticated psychological defense mechanism. After experiencing repeated social disappointments, betrayals, or the feeling of being fundamentally misunderstood, the individual begins to retract their social investments. Their independence becomes a protective strategy, a fortress wall erected to prevent further emotional or psychological harm. The self-sufficiency is born not from a place of arrogance, but from a place of self-preservation. For others, the Sigma path is a conscious, almost philosophical choice made after a period of keen observation. They witness the immense stress, compromises, and often hollow victories of the alpha competitive sphere. They observe the dependency, the lack of agency, and the intellectual stagnation of the beta followership role. Recognizing the limitations of these conventional social scripts, they make a calculated and conscious decision to opt out. This is not a retreat born of weakness, but a strategic withdrawal born of discernment. Some individuals, particularly those with naturally introverted tendencies, do not so much become Sigma as they deepen their innate nature into a coherent and deliberate life philosophy. What begins as a simple preference for solitude evolves into a principled stand for autonomy. What starts as a natural inward focus is refined into a system of internal validation. Their personality provides a raw material, which they then consciously sculpt into the Sigma form. Furthermore, it is possible for even naturally extroverted individuals to adopt Sigma values in specific, crucial domains of their life. A charismatic and socially skilled individual might run their business or creative pursuits with absolute Sigma independence, making key decisions alone, trusting their own vision, and resisting external pressure, while maintaining more conventional and engaged social life in their personal sphere. This demonstrates the archetype's nature as an adaptable set of values rather than a monolithic personality. 5. The inherent limitations of personality typing in capturing the Sigma. While personality systems offer invaluable framework for understanding the vast diversity of human psychology, they inevitably hit their limits when attempting to fully encapsulate a chosen archetype like the Sigma male. Firstly, personality types describe general, probabilistic patterns, but they cannot capture the full spectrum of individual agency, adaptation, and choice. Two individuals with an identical ISTP personality type, for instance, can position themselves in diametrically opposed social roles. One might be a contented and highly skilled employee within a structured organization, a more beta-leaning position, while the other might be a nomadic adventure guide or a solo cybersecurity consultant, embodying the classic Sigma independence. The underlying hardware is the same, but the chosen software, the life orientation, is different. Secondly, The sigma represents a specific social and psychological position that intentionally cuts across multiple personality categories. He is defined by his relationship to the social order, a relationship of sovereign detachment. Trying to force him into a single MBTI or Enneagram box is to misunderstand his essence. He is the embodiment of the adaptive, chosen self, which by its very nature resists such confinement. Perhaps the most profound limitation, and one that the Sigma archetype itself highlights, is the danger of over-identification with any label. To declare I am an INTJ or I am an Enneagram 5 can, for some, become a limiting identity, a box that dictates behavior and potential. The Sigma concept, at its highest expression, points toward the transcendence of labels. It champions authentic self-direction and psychological sovereignty regardless of type. In this sense, the ultimate Sigma move is to use personality typologies as a map for self-understanding, but never as a cage, and to ultimately write one's own definition. Conclusion: the universal potential of the Sigma path. So, to return to our initial profound question, can the Sigma male emerge from any psychological framework? The accumulated evidence and nuanced analysis strongly suggest that he can. The expression, flavor, and specific challenges of his Sigma nature will vary dramatically based on his underlying personality structure. An extroverted Sigma will navigate the world differently than an introverted one. A Sigma motivated by the need for knowledge, a 5, will have a different focus than one motivated by a need for authenticity, a 4. The Sigma male, in his truest form, represents less of a fixed personality category and more of a conscious, deliberate orientation toward life itself. It is an orientation that unapologetically prioritizes authenticity, autonomy, and internal direction over the seductive but fleeting rewards of social validation and conventional success markers. This is fundamentally encouraging and liberating news. It means that the core qualities of the Sigma, self-trust, unshakable independence, integrity, and intentional engagement with the world, are not the exclusive birthright of those with a specific and rare psychological wiring. They are potentialities available to any individual, regardless of their Myers-Briggs type, Enneagram number, or Big 5 profile, who is willing to undertake the arduous but rewarding work of deep self-examination and courageous, self-authored living. Different personality types will undoubtedly face different internal obstacles on this path. The extrovert must learn the power of solitude. The high agreeable person must cultivate the courage of nonconformity, but the path itself remains open to all who choose to walk it. The true Sigma male is not defined by his personality test results, but by his chosen relationship with himself and his engagement with the world. He is the individual who has critically examined the various Puritan scripts offered by society, the corporate ladder, the social climber's path, the conformist life, and has made the conscious decision to author his own narrative. He does this not out of rebellion for its own sake, but out of a profound commitment to living a life that is authentically and uniquely his own. Regardless of his natural tendencies or the weight of social expectations, he lives from his own center, directed by his own internal compass. And in doing so, he embodies a potential that exists within the architecture of every human psyche, the potential to become the sovereign of one's own existence. Do these ideas resonate with you? If you found yourself nodding along or reflecting deeply on the traits and experiences we explored in this video, I'd love to hear your thoughts. The Sigma male mindset isn't often talked about openly, and your perspective, whether you identify with it personally or have encountered it in others, adds valuable depth to the conversation. Drop a comment below and let me know. Which part hit home the most for you? Have you seen these traits in yourself or someone you know? Your insights help build a community where authenticity and growth are prioritized over popularity and performance. If you're drawn to this kind of introspective, no-nonsense content around Sigma males, psychological strength, emotional intelligence, and high-value living, there's more waiting for you. Explore the other videos on this channel for deeper dives, actionable insights, and raw truths that cut through the noise. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay sharp, stay grounded, and stay unapologetically real. Until next time.